Welcome to Demo Theater on, we're going to talk here about taking your app offline with StreetMap Premium for Runtime. My name is Rex Hansen. I'm a product manager for ArcGIS Runtime. I'm joined by Frank Gish, who's a product engineer for Network Analyst. So we're going to take you through in the next half hour some of the capabilities and features of StreetMap Premium for ArcGIS Runtime. So first question, what is the ArcGIS or StreetMap Premium for ArcGIS Runtime? So think of it as a set of data extensions to ArcGIS Runtime as a developer product. The key here is it's a set of ready-to-use, high-quality data for offline use, right? Prepackaged offline data, or prepackaged data for offline use. It's designed in a way that it's optimized for map display and also for geocoding and routing operations. In addition, other network analyst style of operations we'll see a little bit later. The key here is that this is the same data or similar data that we use for ArcGIS Online. So there's a consistent look and feel with the data display, with the StreetMap Premium data extensions, as you would have with ArcGIS Online and some of the base maps that we offer. The underlying data, in this case, is provided by here. Right, so keep that in mind. Right, so as an extension to ArcGIS Runtime, how do you get access to the data, right, that you use for this extension? Well, the first part is you can download all of our data sets on the ArcGIS for Developers website. What you'll need to do is log in first. So creating an account is free. When you create an account, you get a free Essentials developer subscription. When you log in, it'll light up the ability to download products. And these products include both the Runtime SDKs and the data packages associated with StreetMap Premium. The data packages that are associated with StreetMap Premium are delivered as mobile map packages. Right? And these mobile map packages are organized by region, and within each region, they're distributed in different types or divisions, actually, so that you can download in divisions. The key here is that the packages themselves, as a mobile map package, they're part of a specification that contains maps, maps for display, locators for geocoding, and network data sets for routing and other network operations. Right? So 3 different types of information included in the mobile map package format. So first, what areas are covered and how are they organized? So we have 5 different regions that are available now for StreetMap Premium for Runtime. You can see them listed here: North America, Europe, Middle East and Africa, Asia Pacific, and Latin America. Right, so this is the different regions. This will factor into what's licensed as a product, as an extension to Runtime a little bit later. So keep those regions in mind. Now, obviously, the content varies by region. We're still working with here as our data vendor, and so they're in the process of gathering data and updating their data sets appropriately. So you might have some divergence there in the quality of data or the type of data that's available. So when are they updated? Well, in general, they're updated depending upon the frequency at which here can gather and update their data and deliver it. So North America 3 times a year, Europe twice, Latin America, Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa are once per year. Right? So you're going to see regular updates. So now let's go through what's actually in the mobile map package in a little bit more detail. So we're just going another level down. When Frank looks at or shows a demo here shortly, he's going to actually start talking about the specific numbers. But the first thing we want to do is just take a look at, well, what's available, right? So the base maps that are included are designed to be designed to contain high quality cartography, right? We've got 2 maps, so a multi-scale representation. We've got 2 maps that are included. One is really for a navigation or mobile experience. Another one is really for a desktop or a larger form factor experience. You got 2 maps, same data, right? Just different rendering. So the features that are included depends on the region that you're working within. We're going to find things like administrative areas, obviously street data, footprints, ideally, and water features, and other features of the like, right? So you'll have a full representation of the feature geometry that happens to be represented within that specific area of interest. It's great. Base maps is one, locators is another one, right? So with locators, you have the ability to both geocode and reverse geocode against a locator that contains multiple types, right? And these types include the ability to locate against points of interest, place names, street addresses, zip codes, right? So there's a set of different types that are included within the locator that's packaged within the mobile map package and distributed for use. Last one is a network data set. So the network data set is obviously designed for both simple and optimized routing, which is powered through Runtime. You can use a set of predefined travel modes that are included as part of that functionality that are available within the network data set. You might be able to also take advantage of historical traffic patterns if available, gain directions or gain access to directions based upon a network solution. And then also you can use other network analyst operations like service area and closest facility with that same network data set, all powered through runtime capabilities. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Frank, and he's going to take us through some of the numbers and a demo.
Okay, I'm going to start with the demo first. So this is the California mobile map package. If we're zoomed out, obviously, to the extent of California, and we have scale-dependent layers in the package. So as I zoom in, I can see that we get a change in what we're showing and how things are being displayed. Some of the labels start changing, and as we move very close in, we get a lot of detail about what's going on in this package. We have, points of interest and golf courses, and so let's go over to a specific area in Los Angeles. So at this point, I can show you some of the functionality that the network analyst or the network data set that's included in the mobile package will get you. So first of all, I could do routing. So I can just, in this case, I'm just going to drop some points and just do a simple route. And we're going to let it solve. And we get back some information about the route, total length, total time. There's more information in there, but that's more at the runtime level, not really anything to do with the package. The other thing you get is directions. So we have directions that come back. So we see that we have this list of the actual text to go through this particular route. And the directions themselves also have geometry associated with them. So if you want to use that. Again, that's really just a function of the network or of the runtime, not so much of the data set itself, other than the fact that the directions have been defined in the network data set. So another capability of the network data set being there is closest facility. So I could drop some instance and some some instance. I'm just going to drop some of those, and I'm going to drop some facilities. And then I can just ask it to create a closest facilities for me. So at this point, it's mapped each of these instance to the facilities, and if I can go through. I've had it hard-coded just to, for every instant, find the two closest facilities. Gives back, again, the length and time and directions if you wanted. The other one that we can do is a service area. So if I could just drop a point somewhere here, and I can say I want my service area, and that gives me back, right now I have it hard-coded, I believe, to do 3, 6, and 9 minute service areas or something like that. And so you can do this wherever in the map. So the other capability, so that's the network data set aspect of it. So we can use routing, closest facility, and service area with local data from the mobile map package. We can do reverse geocoding, so leveraging the locator. If I just click on streets, I can get back the address of that particular point. We also have suggestions set up. So if I start typing in something like 100 Main, it starts giving me back the suggestions of where I would be able to find those. This isn't exactly geolocating at this point. This is kind of a quick search of the text in the locator so to help someone actually do the locating. So at this point, I can locate on this particular feature and zoom to it. Zoom back out, and I want to clear this. The other thing is actually geocoding. So at this point, I've got 102 Main Street, and I'm going to constrain my search area to around the map view. So at this point, I can just geocode, and what I get back is a number of matches to that particular address that I put in. We see the top one right here is the actual 102 Main Street North, but as we move down, we see that it's actually been going through and kind of creating or finding other results within the locators that are provided in the package. One of the other things that you can do is Rex mentioned the idea of actually using the data, and I think he mentioned adding other data to it. So I've got another map here. This is one I created. So what I did was in Pro, I took the original data set and I threw away some of the layers that, let's say, for my particular use case, I don't need. And then on top of that, I added an operational layer. In this case, these these green lines I brought in from their fault lines that are used, that were provided by the city of Los Angeles. And so now, let's say I'm out in the field and I need some base map for where I am, but I need it to be offline. We could use the original data to give me some context and then bring in, data that I actually want to deal with while I'm out there in the field. So to jump over to some of the PowerPoint presentation I have. So let's see. Is it up there? Okay. Oops. Is that showing? Yeah.
That's good.
All right. So to give you some context, the base map itself, there are 85 different feature classes, and we use those to create 145 different layers. Those layers are feature layers, so actual geometry, and also ones that we use specifically just for labeling. And as you saw when we zoomed in and out, we have multiple scales, so the cartography and what gets shown changes depending upon how far or how close you are or how far you are zoomed out. In terms of locator, we have multiple types, as Rex mentioned. And one of the things about that, though, is that since we have multiple, it can be treated as like a composite locator, which means if something doesn't get found at like the street address level, it can fall back and give you, let's say, the center of the postal code, so that at least you can find something when you're doing geocoding. You don't necessarily have to use this functionality, but it's provided, but it's more depending upon how your application is going to use the data. You can decide what you want to do with that. And as I showed, we support suggestions. Now, in terms of the network, so the network data set, we have a lot of fields in there that we use. There are 106 different fields. I listed them out here. You probably can't see that, and they're probably not that interesting to look at. We also have like a hierarchical field, so that allows you to do quicker searches for points that are far apart. So going from Los Angeles to New York, you don't necessarily want to search every single small road. You basically want to use a hierarchical search, so you get to the freeway, which is most likely what you're going to use, and stay on it until you get to the other end of your route that you want to get down to specific addresses. As Rex mentioned, we also have historical traffic tables. So what that means is, depending upon when you are setting a particular route or service area or closest facility, it will use that traffic to determine when or the length of time that it would take to travel those particular roads. So as I said, we can do local routing, closest facility, and service area. If we look at the properties of the network data set, we see that we actually provide 8 different travel modes. So we have a drive time and a driving distance, and then similarly we have trucking, walking, and rural driving, all of which use the restrictions, costs, and descriptors. So we have 33 different descriptors, 33 different restrictions, 7 different costs, and 14 different descriptors, which we put all together and configure the network data set to allow you to use all those parameters. And as I said before, we have directions, One other thing that we have is a service area index. So when we build this, we create a service area index as part of the network data set. And what that means is it just means service areas are much quicker than if you didn't create the actual index. And back to you.
Great, thanks, Frank. Okay, fantastic. So let's take a little into another couple slides here just to talk a little more detail about what you can do with the data. So as I mentioned before, the StreetMap Premium for ArcGIS Runtime is an extension. It's really a data extension that's designed to be used for offline purposes with ArcGIS Runtime apps. Right? ArcGIS Runtime caters to native app developers, and it's designed to be used both online and offline. Right? So the critical piece here is that we're working with offline data. We're working with a data package. So what can we do with that data package? Well, you can modify this data using ArcGIS Pro. If you need to be able to refine data sets at specific regions or divisions. So you can bring it into Pro, you can clip out the map, locators, and network data sets. You can also add additional layers, and we saw an example of that in Frank's demo where he added in fault lines into the mobile map package. And then you use Pro actually to recreate the mobile map package, right? So you have the ability to do this if you have a Pro, if you have a license, actually to use Pro. You can import, you can bring in the mobile map package, make changes, and re-export, repackage, right? And then use that within runtime. There's also an ability to enhance the street data using an additional data product or an extension to Pro. It's called StreetMap Premium Custom Roads. And this allows you to modify a couple of the, I believe, the feature data sets to include or add or update road network data. So that's another option that you have to be able to modify the existing data, not just clip it, but actually enhance it with additional details. And then lastly here, what I put in yellow is that even if you download the data set, you crack it open, you make modifications, you clip it, you add layers, and then you repackage, you're still going to need to use a StreetMap Premium for Runtime license to use that in production, just to make sure that's clear. So this actually, the screenshot here is actually Pro, and it's the Create Mobile Map Package dialog. Very small, but just a little indicator there. It does exist. So next, let's talk about how it's licensed. So this is really the last slide, but it can get a little tricky. So first, you can download and develop at no cost, right? It's much like the rest of the runtime that you can log in, you get an Essentials plan for free as part of our developer program. You can download any Runtime SDK and start working with it at no cost. You can download any of the data sets that are included for StreetMap Premium for Runtime at no cost and start developing with it. When you're ready to go into production, you need to license use of any apps that are used in production. You can license on any runtime level license, right? So this includes light, which is available at no cost, all the way to advanced, which is the highest license level for runtime, right? So you can license at any level. You can license StreetMap Premium for use at any runtime license level, light through advanced. It's licensed by region. I mentioned this before. So when you license the use of StreetMap Premium data, you're going to license it by one of these 5 regions, right? So whatever you need within that region, you're going to license it for that region. If you need a package from North America and a package from Latin America, that's 2 licenses, right? So that's how it's divided. How is it purchased? Well, right now, we only license use of StreetMap Premium in runtime via a license key. And license keys are distributed in deployment packs. And so you get 5 deployments per pack, right? And each pack contains a license key. This is just a string, basically. It's just like you get with other runtime capabilities, whether it's a runtime level license or other runtime extensions. It's a license key. So this deployment pack sold in a minimum of 5 apiece. 5 deployments, how are deployments counted? They're counted just like runtime counts them. It's per app, per device, available to a single user, right? So every time you take one of those keys and put it in an app and install it on a device, that's deployment. If that device that you install it on is available to multiple users concurrently, each concurrent user that can access that is a license, right? So this is designed to actually support those server systems that enable for concurrent use. It's not necessarily designed for, that's not an issue that affects mobile devices, actually. So if you install a runtime application on a Windows desktop experience for, let's say, Server 2016, and that server exposes the ability to have 3 concurrent users, and that's 3 deployments, right? If you take your app, use StreetMap Premium data, and you license it and put it on an iPhone, that iPhone is designed for single use. Regardless of how many users are touching the iPhone, it's designed for single user access, right? Just to clarify. It's a term license. So you purchase it annually, right? So in order to maintain in order to continue to use or license use of StreetMap Premium for runtime, you have to renew that term every year. And this is critical because this is different than other parts of runtime. It's a license that must be purchased by the end user organization, and they must work directly with Esri, right? So if you're an OEM, you're building an application for your customer, that customer you're building it for must actually have a relationship with Esri, and that they actually make the purchase of the deployment pack or deployment packs and then distribute the license keys as necessary. Now, some of these are actually required based upon terms that we have with our data vendor with here, and so we have to impose those here. So in this case, this is a bit different. So you're not able to, as an OEM, build an application, put a license in that app, and then flow that down to your customer and just work the cost of the license into the price. Basically, what you're going to have to do is work with the end customer that needs StreetMap Premium for runtime. They're going to have to work with Esri to purchase the deployment pack, and then they can hand the key off to their OEM, right? So a little bit different workflow there. Something to keep in mind. And the last part here is limits of use. So use in production. So in this case, if you're working with data that's designed or delivered as part of the StreetMap Premium for runtime, it's designed for runtime use only. The base maps themselves, while there is underlying data, they're not designed for query or identify operations. And attribution is required somewhere within your app to show that you're using here data. It doesn't have to be on the map, but it just needs to be somewhere in the app, actually. We have a landing page for this on our developer site that includes a lot of this information and more. So if you're looking for additional details afterwards, that's a great place to start. And with that, I'll open it up for any questions, because I think we've got 3 minutes for questions before we have to make space for the next group. Yes, question? Mm-hmm.
How large, like if we were to download a North American package, how large is it?
How large is it? No, you mean North America?
Yes.
Well, so I don't believe I think you get sections of North America.
We don't have a North American package itself. California, let's say, state is about 2.5 gigabytes.
The map was not clear to me, but do you have coverage in Denmark as well?
Do we have coverage in Denmark?
Yeah, like this map.
Yes, that'd be included in our Europe region. Yes, definitely. Yes. Mm-hmm. Can you stitch two mobile map packages together, the data in two mobile map packages? Yes, you could. I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't. Because inevitably you'd be bringing the data in from two different sources, right? And once it's actually in Pro at that point, because you'd be using Pro as the authoring environment, right? You're just working with the raw data at that stage, right? So then you'd have to create another mobile map package. It could be quite large.
It would be large.
But yeah, you could. I guess technically you could do that.
We have a business partner that's driving the
Okay. Right, gotcha. Yeah, technically there should be no reason why you couldn't. Yeah, definitely. Great stuff. Any other questions? We're good? Okay, great. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and finish there. If you have any other questions you'd like to talk with us individually, feel free to come up. Otherwise, thanks for coming and enjoy the rest of the conference. Great, thank you.